One Quarantone here, 40 years old, my birthday today. It's my birthday stream. More hip hip parade. This is as big as the celebration gonna get. Some cybernetics um, fireworks for me, my birthday, right? Let's do it again. A thumbs up. Some more explosions. Yeah, likes and explosions, baby. Some peace signs, a little confetti. All right, a little peace sign, some bubbles. It's my birthday, baby. What am I gonna do? I already celebrated. I celebrated at midnight. I had some halal food and Pennsylvania beer, Youngling or Yungling. Very malty taste last night. I couldn't even savor it because I sipped it and went to sleep. And I was so sweaty from going to get that food. I technically slept with my jacket open. What is happening here? We are starting to cross. We are, I don't know if you guys could see what I see, but I'm thinking like a real maverick now. Today I was woken up again by a black man taking a picture of me, and we know that's some racist shit. We know that should be unacceptable within Battery Park or whatever. But I was woken up. Not he didn't wake me up, but I saw him when I opened my eyes standing in front of me, taking a picture of me. And I'm pretty sure a resident told him to delete that. Why? Because they like to take pictures of you when you're vulnerable. It's not about taking a picture when you're smiling. Now it's when you're at your worst, they'll take a picture of you. And you're white and they're black. You gotta stop. Because if roles were reversed, it'd be a chimp out. Violence would occur. They wouldn't like it. They would feel violated. No videos, no picture takers, no pictures taken of them or whatever, so on and so forth. So today, MACD, both minute and 30 is red. It's weak, zero point zero 0.02, zero point zero 0.05. Yesterday in the afternoon, the market slipped because of Trump was looking for solutions with Iran. They were looking for a deal. And at the same time, Israel, right, moved the plane into Turkey, right? A scrambler. Say I'm an F-14. If I'm not a little bit too careful on countries' borders, you could scramble a nearby jet into the war. Like I don't know. We're fighting in a state of a small state, uh, in a center state. Let's say I'm in Arkansas, right? So I'm Oklahoma and I'm fighting in Arkansas, which is right next door, right? So I'm an Oklahoman jet, right? And I'm into Oklahoma, but by mistake, my jet crosses the border of Tennessee, Memphis, right over Memphis. Cross it a little bit into Memphis to come back to Arkansas. I scramble a jet in Tennessee, and now Tennessee jet is in the war with me, all right? And I'm an Oklahoma jet, and my war is with Arkansas, and now you brought in another state into the war. So Israel brought a jet from Turkey into the war yesterday just for going over borders, just for being a little bit too easy on the jet controls. I'm pretty sure he didn't go in too deep, but 10 miles is significant. That jet up there at 40,000 feet will move 35, 50 miles like that. So you'll end up going inside someone's border if you're not careful. Oh, we start showing, there's a pattern here that Israel's not too good with jets. First, they blew up the F-35, and the F-35 is a distance shooter. It's not a plane. for you to be dogfighting. It's a plane for you to hang back. If you see a plane coming, you turn around, you go the other way, you lock him, you shoot him, and you repeat the process. You never let them get close to you, and you're never dogfighting. You're not using it like if it was an F-14. But they unfortunately used it like an F-14, and 2 F-35s have gone down. But they shouldn't have. It's just poor pilot. The pilot's not understanding that he's supposed to be far from people to use that plane. That plane surpasses certain capabilities in locking and radar, in which it would have made him too easy, and he would have been able to take everyone out in that field without having a dogfight. Without having to get close and turn and flare and flak and you know maneuvers to get out the way, up, down, flat, cobra, the movie, so on and so forth. Evasive maneuvers. You're not supposed to be doing that on that type of plane. You're supposed to, oh, someone's coming. I'm an F-35. That way. That's it. Oh, Iran jet. Is that a jet from Iran? Oh, just afterburner away from it. And slowly turn around. It's still coming to you. Lock it, shoot it. Try again. Oh, it's getting closer. Fire again, right? It's supposed to keep your distance and you'll win. Because they have a better locking, right? They can lock in the targets way further than any other plane. They're not even seen at an X amount of kilometers on the radar. So they didn't use that. They really wanted to be locked in and get shot down. There's the reason why they got shot down because they weren't doing it right. I would have done it right. November Lima Alpha or November Lima would have done it just right. Chef's kiss would have been. Oh, straight line away from it. Like that, you looking to where he is with that glass cockpit. He could see across the plane, right? He's sitting, right? But he's seeing around him in the plane. He's not looking, you're going to see him looking in the cockpit, but he's really looking through the cockpit. Like, oh, where is he? Oh, there he is. And just bolt in a particular direction and get away, and then turn around, lock in him. That's it. It's too easy. That's too easy. And take out, like I've always said, take out the single hand joke and use the double. Not joystick here, a joke. All right. I like it that way much better. That we could throw bombs in that. I'll test. Woo, 80,000 feet in it. I'll do all types of stuff in there. So we slip, right? We're heading into the 20-day moving average on the daily candle, right? That's where we're heading. If we go below here, we're having a big pullback in the market. We were so close for an all-time high, but like always, they always hit Trump with a curveball. They always. What they threw at him last time? COVID, right? And the market was at all-time high. The market made records, stock market records when Trump was in office. And once it was at its peak of 150 something odd days of fresh numbers that they never seen before, NASDAQ Dow or whatever, because America was doing good, they threw COVID and launched it deeper than it has ever been. Bitcoin hit 3,800 that year, and I was looking at it slip down March of COVID. That March month of COVID was pretty serious, right? Curfew or whatever, everyone locked in the house. So this is what they do. They have a pattern. What's happening to Trump has a pattern. Iran's war, that's a pattern. That's poor versus rich, right? That's not geopolitics. That's more, let's fuck with this American president, right? I see Netanyahu as responsible for looking to fuck Donald Trump plan. the same as China within his second term in office. I see that. They blame it as petrodollar hegemony in the South Asian Sea, right? They need to. COVID was a way to try to destabilize the dollar or whatever, but it didn't work. We're still here. The dollar's still. What's the Dixie at? 99 right now. Let's check the Dixie. 99 cents on the dollar. Inflation is going down. We're getting a rate cut soon. But this is just to fuck Donald Trump's efforts in making America great again. It is. It is. And Israel was supposed to be an ally. And Donald Trump is a Jew. He has Jewish roots. 68 cents on the dollar. 98 cents on the dollar. Or 98 cents. So inflation's under the curve of $1. And it should get really low. That's how monetary policy works. Inflation goes up to $1.25, $1.30, goes really high up, and once you start cutting interest rates, it dips into the negatives, as we see here. The goal is $1.02, but it's well into that. It's dipping below, and it's probably going to go lower if they don't jack up the price of oil, right? Which is all war related, all war machine activities, right? A war drives oil up, drives gold up, pulls money out of the stock market. There's more than $8 billion of liquid cash out there. So this is, once again, something always happens when Donald Trump is in office, and it's always something major. It's not a game, and it's just to test him. It's like a game. And it's always the people that have been in power longer than him. If you see that pattern, America is the only place in which you have, people, leaders come and go over the years, right? And they stay there in power forever. Netanyahu's been in Israel. Woo! Xi Jinping has been in power. And they're the ones that are playing the tit for tat. They're the ones that are playing our country. They're playing it. They're playing us. They're playing us right now with Iran. We were supposed to be heading up, and we're going down, and we're about to slip below the 20-day moving average on a daily candle. Can we recover? Possibly. There's a demand band between 598.34. There's some buyers between 596.18 and 594.71. So there is a lot of people that bought there to go up to make the all-time high. These are people that are probably going to hold this position until the market establishes a higher number than 613, because we are looking for an all-time high. We're looking for a Donald Trump style rally in the stock market. But once again, shut down. It's always shut down. And people did not know what Donald Trump did his first term in office because of Nancy Pelosi, because of CNN. Nobody gave a shit. Only the people that were looking at MSNBC, only the people that were connected to the stock market realized what he had done in the stock market. And he's the reason we are up at this level. We are at the 613 level, and we made it in Biden's year at the 613 level. It wasn't Biden. It was always the president before. Policies take lag time or whatever the work. But for him, they always put him in a pullback. It's either a major pullback, macro pullback, a spell at it, right? Like COVID, and if Donald Trump were to return back in office, they'll probably throw a solar wave, EMT bomb, a ginormous tornado. They figure his ass out into doing something to him to try to fuck his plans up. And it's consistent. There's a pattern to this. Iran going, Israel going into war with Iran. It's China and COVID again. Wuhan virus. It's time and time again they're doing things to him. And we could only prove this one more time. It's happened twice already. For good probability, you need an event to happen at least 3 to 5 times in statistics. So if he were to be termed 5 times as the president, which is real unlikely, right? And every time he gets elected, given his, unfortunately, he's a little bit too old. He won't be able to do another term, but they'll probably do something's gonna happen that fuck up the party. The second the ramp up. Look at the ramp up. We've been here. Look, Trump has been in office since June, right? The low in the stock market was April. That's basically right. The world getting the world getting started first for his pump 480, right? Yeah, 480. 481.8. I was here that day. I was sitting here. I was watching this. I wanted to buy here, but I couldn't buy here. I was able to buy. I wanted to buy BlackRock at 580, right? I wanted to buy next year calls at 480, but I wasn't able because the market decided to take a bottom dip at 481 and not my limit of 480. I should have bought it at 480, but it wasn't going to happen. It slipped out of my hand. They knew that 480 was a critical number for everyone, and they made sure to hold back. So since then, they stopped the party. We were supposed to be going to 6:30, but Israel decides to go into war. And it's consistent. Every time this guy's in power, they'll throw a dice. They'll bring out a mage. they'll bring out a warlock and say something. Something always happens with him. It's why, because rich and poor, so on and so forth. There's real tensions. The man could go to sleep, wipe $100 bills with it, wipe with $100 bill forever. Do certain behaviors like that. So governments know that. They want to play it weird like that. What can we do? We can't do much about it. All we could do is watch that 20 moving average right here. That's all we care about. That 21-day moving average right here that I should put 20. Let me make it 20. Is it 20? It's 21. Let me leave it at 21 because 21 is good enough. It's not going to move much between 20 and 21. If the market goes below that, you best bet we going to 580. It's already starting. It's holding a green flag right now. I could put a green flag in the stock market the 10th of June. But right now, it's question mark, right? Like we could go like a big question mark here. Like, is we gonna touch here and rebound? Is we gonna grab this and free fall? Is the candle gonna turn red? Right? How long has it been since the candles turned red? Let me check. It's been since April. No, yeah, April. The dip, April 21. It's been since April 21 that we recovered and it went on a ramp up. Are we gonna turn it to a red candle? Right? Are we dipping? Dipping? That's a question to know, because I could probably close my shorts. I mean my longs. Let me check. Let me check which ones I could close, because it'd be August, July. The power on my call options is dying. This one, the call, that's $25,000 right there for August 29th. I think we're going to close this today. We are. We're going to close this. The puts are active, right? The puts are $13 short, 25,000 and 13,000. I think I'm going to close down these calls because it's already aiming. We're one step ahead. We're going to create a closing order right here. We're going to sell that market. Loss making. We wanted to make more, but we got to go. It's already aiming at It's already sliding. I got puts there for December though. I predicted this. I had this order right here, this 590 put way before we started the up rally. So when the market was at 590, I went into short because that's the end of the regression. That's when I said to myself, I'm gonna start going short now and do an end of the year short. And here I got it. I ran. In my print, always ahead of the pack. I'm doing good. The USO, where's the barrels at? The barrels at 82. They're doing pretty good. Where's gold at? Gold has not moved up yet. Gold is moving down. I'm down by $150. My golden gold is making a new high per troy ounce. So that's burning up, but we're getting out of those. There's 72 days till August, and I'm getting rid of those calls because I could just rebuy them already. We're 7 down. If we hit 790 here, then I'll rebuy. Now I'm questioning my profit taking. Am I going to take this profit, or is the market going to recover and Iran is a nothing burger? Is it a nothing burger? That's a good question to ask. It's a really good question to ask. Let's hope today we make money as fast as we made it yesterday, because holy shit, yesterday I was done quickly yesterday. Yesterday was rapid and brutal and fantastic. Rapid, brutal, fantastic, quick. And today we're aiming at the same thing. It's looking red. Oh, should I pull this off the table? Tomorrow is going to be an off day. Let's check to the end of the week. If by Friday this has not recovered, right, and we're not heading, we found no support here, and we don't go into, where are we? Yeah, if we don't touch 600 by Friday, not today, by Friday, I'm getting out of the August position. And hopefully it doesn't slip down today into 590 because anything could happen. Let's crank up the news. We got 40 minutes. See what we could hear. See what we could hear in new developments.
All in the now right around 1%, whatever forecast you want, Goldman Sachs, World Bank, and so forth. And so I think, yes, we have seen a stunning level of resilience, but I think the prospects that it lasts are low.
The pullback that we saw when tariffs were first announced, that were much larger than had been anticipated, the markets have come back from that, I think, probably on the assumption that the tariffs will not be quite as bad, that there will be some negotiations that take place between now and then. You think that's the case?
Yes. But I think the tariffs are just one level of this picture. But I mean, just ask yourself, if any of the three of us are average consumers and we're seeing all this news, it's going to cause us to be hesitant. And the same with businesses on capital spending and other expansion plans, and the same with hiring. And I think that's about to begin to show up.
Although the war between Ukraine and Russia has been going on for years at this point.
Yes, but it's an overall impact. Now, I'd like to be wrong. And the market, as we all know, is right around an all-time high, although if you strip out the Magnificent Seven, is lower. And obviously a big thesis there is we're in the earliest stages of a revolution in terms of AI that will rival the Industrial Revolution and so forth. I have no reason to question that. But I think the resilience we've seen so far is unlikely to maintain itself as surprising as it has been.
Roger, at the beginning, before tariffs, you could talk to business people and they were ecstatic about a lot of stuff, a lot of tailwinds,
Right.
Whether it's deregulation or certainty about taxes,
Tax bill.
or just go down, lower oil prices. If that were, now, obviously we've got a war going on, but there were a lot of things. The other day, I know you saw this, real wages for hourly workers up 2% in the first 5 months. That's the strongest growth in 60 years. Inflation, even with tariffs, is low. You could be wrong. You admitted that. It could be that some of those tailwinds are more than enough to offset the tariff, which may or may not finally, the worst case scenario might not happen with tariffs.
And you're right, because if you look at the basic unemployment data, what's really going on, I think, is that employment itself remains solid, and therefore consumers have a solid amounts to spend. And so far have been, I said there's been some weakness showing up now, but until very recently have been doing so. And so you have to take a close look at, we're about to see another continuing claims number.
Yeah.
And we'll have to, but you see.
And we got it today, actually, because tomorrow's Juneteenth.
Say that again?
The jobless claims, we got it today because tomorrow's Juneteenth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
I'm going to ask you something. And the wealth effect for consumers. The markets, if you didn't sell, you're basically,
That's right.
the person that came back after it was, if you went to Mars and came back, 4 months later, the market's right where it was.
That's true.
Yeah.
I find that a little puzzling, but,
Yeah.
I have
Just
a
because
lifelong
of
history of being wrong on
the
markets.
deportations, Roger, I think it's a fraction of what the Biden administration, what they were doing, and a fraction of what Obama was
Well, the
deporting.
Biden
right?
administration was totally asleep when it came to this.
They were deporting. They were just deporting the people. They were letting it was like
they were.
it was like a bucket with in a boat with a bunch of holes in
That
it.
was
Yeah.
a level of malpractice.
But Obama deported a
He did.
lot of people.
He did.
A lot more than Trump. 10
He did.
times as
He did.
many.
I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say is there's a confluence of huge events.
Yeah.
Huge events.
This but even the Iran, that could be. We had Steve Eisman yesterday talking about how positive, if something does come out of this with Israel and Iran and the whole Middle East has a
No, but
shift.
he wasn't saying that.
Talking about the whole Middle East.
But he wasn't necessarily saying the markets would go up.
Not
It's
the
just
markets,
the
but-
antithesis of what would happen if something bad had come out of
But
it.
for the world, it could be in terms of finally putting this to rest.
Let me put it
There's
another
been a
way.
thorn in our side
If we-
since 19.
If we sail
79.
right through this the way we have so far in terms of
Yeah.
what I call resilience, I just think it'll be amazing because there is such a confluence of destabilizing events that typically cause consumers
But
to hesitate, cause businesses to hesitate. And so far, we've seen a little evidence of it, but not much.
Are you-
I happen to think we're going to see more, but maybe I'm wrong.
Are you seeing that hesitation in your business, the business you do with M&A and other things with
Well, the M&A environment has been okay, but not booming for some time. Last year was not a great year. This year is somewhat better. I'm happy to say that we are doing quite well ourselves, but it's there's a lot of pent up interest, demand. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, you've seen quite a few announcements. Dollar volume year over year globally is up, but it's not booming.
Okay.
And I think if the clouds part and the sun comes out in terms of all these events we're talking about, there probably will be a big upswing.
Roger, always great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Squawk Box will be right back.
A little break. $4 points on futures is not too strong. Although we are at the 600 level, a little delay. We're moving up. It might touch 600 today. It might. And based on that, I'm aligning myself to bullish activity, even though my MACD is telling me that the 30-minute is red. So, Saucito, su salido roll. So we're gonna go 30%. We're gonna buy a 10% 5 contract. We already know that 3 contracts at 50% is 260. Let me change it on the setup so that every time I open is 5. Order defaults, options. Oh, and I can't do nothing about that. It's always gonna be, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Here. 30%. 5. And we're gonna send it at open. We got 1 at open, and we're gonna leave it at that. Today, I have an idea that I thought about yesterday. Is that if my buy the dip or my buy the top indicator becomes active, if I'm in a long trade, let's say if I'm short, right, and I see this signal, it means to get out. Just get out. And it happened yesterday. Yesterday, the market was short the 375 of 5 contracts at 30 limit at 30%. I bought it open. It did pretty good. It got to like $260. But it was short from 601 to 602. And there was 602 flat at open yesterday. And the buy the top was telling me this is the top. So I think I'm gonna listen more to the top than to the dip.
Take a quick look at the futures before I say that does it for us.
I'm gonna listen to this right here. So I'm gonna take this open trade, right? This partial bullish open. It feels like it's a bullish open, right? It's a gap up 2, 1, yeah, $1.50 so far. No, 50 cents. It's a 50-cent open. It's not that big, but I'm still going long. And whenever I thought it was $2. Over here is 3, so it's pretty good. So if I'm gonna hit the 30%, and if I see that, I'm getting out. So I should take the trade and set up a closing trade. Set up a closing trade separate. So instead of taking 30%, right, we're going to open one, right? That one's open. And we're just going to buy here. We're going to buy one, right? Single. Buy. We're going to go for 10. 5 contracts. Right. Market. We should close to that market, right? Okay, so let me see how I do it. We're gonna do one contract open at 30%. Gone with it. Gone with the win. We're gonna open another one. Not at 30%, but at market. Right? Market, and we're gonna define 5 contracts. And we're gonna sell it at the top. Sell, right? Sell 5 SPY, symbol, SPY, method. edit by 1 minute extended current condition, right? Edit, study, top. We got the buy the top, offset 1, true by 3. And we're going to sell the top. So we have basically got 2 trades. 1 trade, 5 contract at 30%, which should be greater or more than $375. And 1 at the top. If it's going to be a bullish open, the top should show up. And if not, this trade is going to go whoa until it finds the top. It's going to go whoa and close whenever that becomes true. This trade might be really good. It might be like I said yesterday, I saw that. I'm looking at 601. I'm looking at $260. I'm like, yeah, it's 602. It's like, we're right there. It's $1 or more. Let's see if it pumps. But it didn't. It just went up and free fell $1 short of target. But it told me that the top code said, hey, this is the top. This is the top. Who is that? Who's targeting me right now? LMT Orthodontics. The orthodontics office is sending me a happy birthday. So yeah, we're going to sell this one at the top. Sell market trigger at open. Very good. And there we got it. We're done. We got it. So if it's really going to pop open and it's really going to be bullish, the second it finds the top, it's going to sell it. And it should not go down if the top is not found. You know, that's not going to happen. You know, the market's not going to go down and it's not going to find the top. You know, do you understand? It's a buy signal at 9 o'clock. It's a buy signal right there at 9 o'clock, which is pretty good. So that contract, whenever it finds the top, it's going to go cling, it's going to get out. We know that one of them is at 30% and the other is at the top. And the top is used for, I should use both. You know, create instead of one single triggers all. One at target and make the target unattainable, right? This is how the next trade should look. You guys are seeing me here. We're going to open another one here, right? We are going to set first triggers all. We're going to add, wait, why is it short? Hold on. Right here. We're going to buy right here, right? We're going to add duplicate order. Opposite order. And we're going to add another opposite order. Like that. This is how this should look like. Either it hits, and I got to make sure at the close, open limit orders that did not hit at the top so that they don't become short sold orders. So we're going to go for 5 contracts. All right. We're getting real complicated and real special. If all goes well, 2 contracts. 1 contract should be at 50%. Right? 1 contract should be at 50% and the other should sell at the top. So it goes in, it gets out of trade either way. It goes in with 5 contracts. It either finds the top or hits target. And that's it. I should do it as OCO. One cancels the other, right? So let's try it as OCO. Let's try it as OCO. That's an OCO bracket, custom OCO bracket. And here it is. Limit, trigger at 30%, market, limit at 30%, or market. And there it is. Plain market cannot be part of an OCO group. Hold on, let me. We got a few minutes before I gotta go to right here. You could do limit. Whichever it is. The cogwheel is open, so it's gonna open whatever. So I can't do market, right? Limit. Why can't it be done? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's ask support. We got 20 minutes here. Okay. Hi. I am trying to do a special trade. I want a market open with a 30% trigger limit profit, and as an OCO order, another market with a study conditional to close it. But it's not letting me do one cancels the other, and I got to cancel the remaining limit, the remaining order manually. Ah. Hi, Suzanne. The goal of my trade is to trade a 30% target, but if unfilled, let a study close it. my condition. So I need one buy market, one sell limit with trigger target, and one market for conditional. But OCO doesn't allow market order. Yes. I see plain market order may not be part of OCO group. All right, so we got two. We got one with the top and one with both. We got three orders today at open. See there, it finds the top, it finds the target, and they both disappear. So that's the good one. Ah. Brrr. I got a little diarrhea. I'm gonna hold it all day, and I don't care. Gonna leave this like this, baby. We got 15 orders up in here, one or the other. It's gonna be real special now. It's gonna be real special, and hopefully the market don't go down. Now what we're watching is to see if the market could crawl down without a dip being identified after the pump up, which it shouldn't. You know, the market is not going to be able to do that. Let's see if that assumption is true. Goal is identifying if the dip will identify a smooth come down, a sharp come down, and just not lose profit. If it's the top, it's gonna close the trade. If it's the bottom, it's gonna enter the trade, so on and so forth. It's gonna be brutal out here, baby. We're gonna be brutal here. Position is short, it's looking short. There is a bullish signal at 9 o'clock where it's It's buy signal right now at the 9 o'clock. The VIX is calling it out as a short. 9 points on ES. I think we're going to 600. It's going to be one of those mess again. Hopefully the market pulls back at open before the order goes in. And if that's true, and if this top buying the top works, and it makes subpar profit, that's my defense. I found a defensive. You know how to pull back if when I do get a significant gap up there. When I get these gap up signals, if I get today, it's going to be a break high or a significant gap up or a average gap up, etc. That's going to be the trade. That 3 trades is going to cost a lot of money. Just a single trade is going to cost the whole bankroll. Probably more than the bankroll. But they will all be defensive. The majority is going to be, the majority of the trade is going to be the closer trade. The most of the money is going to be the closer trade, and the rest is going to be the actual part that makes money. This is how it looks. You see that shit right there? Ridiculous. One of them opens at 30%. One of them opens and closes with buy the top. Right? Whenever a top is identified, and the other does the same thing, either target or top at the same time. Target or top. I shaved his face. I need a tuxedo, man. I need to find a tuxedo, B. I gotta go to Marshall's in New Jersey. Gotta cross over there, see if I find something. Decent tux. Where are tux out here? Black shirt. Baba Yaga out here. Young Wick. We're going for the Young Wick look. Dangerous, dude. Dangerous. Real dangerous shit. It's not a game. This is not a game. So that triple trade is going to be my protection. That 3 contract, that 15 contract size or 9 contract size, that's going to be my protection. That's the safe either way. And the goal is ensuring that the market doesn't creep down without logging it in as a top, in which it shouldn't. Stop it. Cumpleaños de papi. ¿Qué me mandó papi? Chavo. Ojalá Dios me mande chavo. Ojalá Dios me mande chavo. ¿Qué me dio? Happy birthday, gracias, pa. There we go. Market
Kind of knew it
open.
was happening, didn't know when, and the market traded higher when it seemed like there
Oh,
wasn't going to be an
significant
invasion.
gap down,
and it made you
baby.
think the market was going to hate it if it happened.
Market
and then
is
you had the
flushing
invasion,
hard.
everyone off to the races to the upside. That is not. I'm not saying we're in that environment right now, but I'm saying that that's the history of why you don't necessarily feel the market trades the way you would intuitively expect. At the big board, it is Canadian miner Allied Gold, celebrating a recent listing at the Nasdaq. It's Carif Life Sciences, focused on oncology. IPO this morning, guys. CEO was on Squawk Box talking about some of the technology that they work with when it comes to diagnosing oncological diagnoses. That's said all about energy,
We got a
Mike. We do
significant
have,
gap down
we're back above
overnight.
75 on
Yeah.
West Texas, and
It's
gasoline
bearish,
futures
but I
are
went
riding
long.
the
Why
top of
does
the
that
channel
break
once
like
again.
that?
Yes.
I don't
so,
care.
I mean, the dial's being turned, just not that dramatically. And we are above Friday's highs, I guess, on WTI. Brent's kind of close to there. So that's the one thing that's kind of broken the containment of Friday's range. The S&P never did. The volatility index is kind of nip and tuck right near there. So I do think that everyone's using as a little bit of a mental benchmark. Okay, how did we trade on Friday? We're going to navigate around that. Now, there's other reasons why the market might be a little bit sluggish and be sort of poised to have the potential to pull back a little bit. We had a 25% ramp to the upside. It was broad at the beginning, but it narrowed out in the last couple of weeks. There's been a loss of momentum. There is the softening economic data trend. I mean, all these things we're talking about, bring us to that point where we priced in some good stuff. We're going to need some good stuff pretty soon, whether that means tangible progress on trade.
How's the ramp
or
up?
the
Let's
economic
look
data
at the macro.
accelerating,
What
which
is it
hasn't
looking like?
happened.
Looking like a
Or
big
maybe
ramp
if the
up,
Fed
right?
gives a little bit of
Yeah,
a,
we
of a
good.
clue that it's a little, leaning a little more dovish than we previously
So is the
thought.
market telling you that second half outlook is
Red.
better than the economists are forecasting?
It's
It's
interesting
red,
because
baby,
if you
it's
look
red.
at the leadership
And
parts
I
of the market,
entered
there
at
is
the
a
bottom. I
pretty
need
good cyclical over
$5.99
defensive type of
to
trade.
get out the trade.
I don't know that
I'm
it's
pretty sure the
necessarily
ski level
all
should
that
hold.
assertive though, because
This
I'm
has
looking
to
at
hold.
regional banks.
It
Regional
has
banks
to.
have faltered in the last several weeks
It's not going to
relative
fall.
to the S&P 500. You do see strength in industrials, but it's the AI adjacent power stuff that really is driving things, or it's aerospace and defense. It's not the parts of industrials that would be like
Went in at
transports
a dip today.
and building materials and things that would seem as if they're
I'm gonna
about to
open a
domestic.
But it's
Put
also
just in
not
case.
staples, which is the worst performing
Right.
sector this month, down 3.5%. If there were really slowdown fears in
Yeah.
this market, that's the first place that would catch a bid.
The market is implicitly saying we're trading at 22 times earnings. We think the earnings are going to come through. Therefore, we don't expect an outright downturn. I do think that the sort of structural weakness in staples, yes, they'll rally if we get a true recession, but the structural weakness there, the lack of pricing power, is just kind of weighing on so much of that group. And even healthcare is in that boat, right? Healthcare should have a bid. It's got this growth value blend,
It's doing a little
but it's
better,
not purely
maybe.
cyclical. But
it
in
gonna hold?
general, it's
Now the question
underperformed,
is,
and that's a lot of
Is
policy
that
stuff.
support line
Meanwhile, I
going to
think
hold, or
transports
we're
are
going to flush
16%
down
off the high last
into
year.
that
Yeah,
20-day
transports
moving
have
average?
definitely been a pretty big laggard. And it's trade related, a lot of that, and also the airlines. Yesterday you did see the travel stocks sell off again, as it seemed as if you might be moving toward a more of a broader conflict in Iran. So I think the market again is kind of on this somewhat balanced footing in terms of the economic outlook. But again, it needs positive stuff to support it here or nearby. I think pullbacks. Everyone
All
keeps
right.
pointing the S&P could pull back to 5,800. That's like a 5% from the recent highs. That would be absolutely no big deal. In the meantime,
I'll see you
we
guys
would
at
continue to chop
10:15.
around these levels
I gotta
that
go
we
to the
first got
restroom
to
real
in
quick.
November, and frankly,
I'll be
are
right
not
back.
that much higher than the mid-July highs of last year. That's 11 months
We
ago.
got to go, baby.